Alicia set down her coffee cup with trembling hands, certain she'd misheard her daughter. "Sell the house," she whispered, staring at Jessica's cold, determined face. "Yes, Mom. The house. This old thing is worth what, 300,000? That's exactly what Marcus and I need for our dream wedding." Jessica's voice carried no warmth, no consideration for the woman who'd raised her alone after her father died. "It's just a house. You can rent an apartment somewhere." Alicia's jaw dropped. This was the home where Jessica had taken her first steps, where they'd celebrated every birthday, every milestone. The walls held 30 years of memories, love, and sacrifice. "Jessica, this is our family home. Your father built the garden gazebo with his own hands." "Mom, stop being so sentimental. It's time to be practical." Marcus, Jessica's fiancé, leaned back in his chair with a smirk that made Alicia's stomach turn. "Honestly, Mrs. Rivera, look around. This place is so dated. The wallpaper, the furniture, it screams cheap life." Jessica laughed, a sound that cut through Alicia's heart like glass. "Exactly. Our wedding is going to be a new beginning, Marcus. A fresh start without all this clutter." She gestured dismissively at the family photos lining the mantel, at the handmade quilts Alicia's mother had sewn. "Think of it as an investment in our future," Marcus added, his tone patronizing. "You'll be helping us build something beautiful instead of clinging to the past." Alicia felt something cold settle in her chest. These weren't the words of the daughter she'd sacrificed everything for. This was a stranger wearing her child's face. "Mom, I need you to understand something." Jessica's voice had turned sharp, businesslike. She stood in the doorway of the kitchen where Alicia had made thousands of meals, packed countless school lunches, and kissed away every childhood hurt. "If you really love me, if you've ever really loved me, you'll do this. You'll sell the house and give us the money. If not," Jessica shrugged, her eyes harder than Alicia had ever seen them, "then I guess I know where I stand with you. Stay out of my life." The words hit Alicia like a physical blow. After everything, working double shifts to pay for Jessica's college, going without so her daughter could have everything she needed, this was her reward? An ultimatum wrapped in emotional blackmail? Alicia's heart shattered, but something else stirred beneath the pain. Something that had been dormant too long. The family dinner at Aunt Carmen's house should have been a celebration of the engagement. Instead, it became Alicia's public execution. When Carmen asked about wedding plans, Jessica's mask finally slipped completely. "Oh, we're planning something gorgeous. Too bad Mom's being selfish about it." Jessica's voice carried across the dinner table, silencing conversations. "She won't sell her little house to help with the wedding. Apparently, her attachment to old furniture is more important than her daughter's happiness." The family exchanged uncomfortable glances. Marcus nodded sympathetically, playing his part perfectly. "We've tried to explain that it's just material things, but..." He shrugged sadly. "She's being completely useless," Jessica continued, her voice rising. "After everything I've achieved, all I'm asking for is one small sacrifice, and she won't even do that." Alicia sat frozen, feeling every eye in the room judging her, measuring her, finding her wanting. That night, alone in her bedroom, the bedroom she'd shared with her late husband Roberto, where she'd cradled infant Jessica during countless sleepless nights, Alicia stared at the ceiling. The house creaked around her with familiar sounds, like an old friend offering comfort. She rose and walked to Roberto's dresser, still exactly as he'd left it 5 years ago. His police badge caught the moonlight, and she could almost hear his voice. "Mija, sometimes people need to learn that actions have consequences." Alicia touched the badge gently, then looked at herself in the mirror. The woman staring back had been too kind, too giving, too willing to be taken advantage of. But not anymore. "You'll regret this, Jessica," she whispered to the darkness. "You'll regret every word, every cruel laugh, every moment you thought I was weak." The spark of revenge ignited, small but steady, warming the cold place in her chest. Alicia practiced her defeated expression in the bathroom mirror before calling Jessica. When her daughter answered with an impatient "What?" she let her voice crack just enough. "Jessica, honey, I've been thinking about what you said. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am being too sentimental." She paused, injecting just the right amount of resignation into her tone. "If this wedding is really that important to you, then I'll do it. I'll sell the house." The silence stretched for several heartbeats before Jessica's triumphant laugh filled the phone.
Mom.
"Oh my God, I knew you'd come around. Marcus," she said. "Yes. She's going to sell." Alicia could hear champagne bottles popping in the background, celebration beginning immediately. No questions about where she'd live, no concern for her sacrifice. Just pure, selfish joy. "I love you, Mom. You're doing the right thing," Jessica said, though the words felt hollow and rehearsed. "I love you too, Mija," Alicia replied, and for the first time in weeks she smiled. Thomas Rodriguez had been Roberto's partner on the force and the family lawyer for 20 years. When Alicia called asking for an urgent but confidential meeting, he cleared his schedule immediately. "I need you to help me set up an irrevocable trust," Alicia explained, sliding documents across his desk. "I want the house protected, but I need Jessica to think I'm selling it." Thomas raised his eyebrows, but didn't question her motives. He'd seen enough domestic cases to recognize the signs. "This is bulletproof legal territory, Alicia. Once it's in the trust, no one can touch this house. Not Jessica, not Marcus, not even you." "Perfect." Alicia signed papers with steady hands, each signature another brick in the wall she was building around her daughter's schemes. "And Thomas? Not a word to anyone. Not even your wife." He nodded, understanding completely. "Your secret's safe, Alicia. Roberto would be proud of you for protecting what's yours." Jessica arrived the next day with wedding magazines, fabric samples, and a calculator, her eyes bright with greed. "Mom, I've been thinking about the guest list. We'll need to invite at least 300 people. Marcus's family has connections we can't afford to snub." She spread brochures across Alicia's kitchen table, the same table where she'd done homework for 12 years. "Look at this venue. It's perfect. And this dress is exactly what I've always dreamed of." Marcus appeared behind her, already comfortable acting like he owned the place. "Mrs. Rivera, once we get the house sold, Jessica and I were thinking we might rent this place back from the new owners. You know, keep it in the family temporarily." Alicia nodded enthusiastically, while her mind cataloged every word. "That sounds wonderful, Marcus. I'm so glad you're thinking of keeping it in the family." The irony tasted sweet on her tongue. Alicia had developed the habit of moving quietly through her own house, a skill that served her well when she overheard Jessica and Marcus talking in the living room while she prepared their coffee. "And once we're married and the house money is in our account, we'll give the old lady a month to find somewhere else to live," Marcus was saying, his voice casual, as if discussing the weather. "A month might be too generous," Jessica replied with a laugh. "She's gotten way too comfortable thinking this is still her house. Maybe 2 weeks would be better, really drive home the point that things have changed." "I love how ruthless you are, babe. Your mom has no idea what's coming." Alicia's hands stilled on the coffee cups. She'd suspected, of course, but hearing it laid out so coldly, so calculatedly, made her blood run cold, and then burn hot with righteous fury. "Coffee's ready," Alicia called sweetly, carrying the tray into the living room where Jessica and Marcus sat plotting her homelessness. "You're an angel, Mom," Jessica said, accepting the cup without looking up from her wedding planner. "Marcus was just saying how lucky I am to have such a generous mother." "Oh, I'm the lucky one," Alicia replied, settling into her armchair, Roberto's old chair, where he used to read bedtime stories to Jessica. "I get to watch my daughter plan her dream wedding. What more could a mother want?" Marcus smiled that patronizing smile again. "You're taking this whole transition really well, Mrs. Rivera. Change can be hard for some people." Alicia's smile never wavered, though her mind was already 3 steps ahead, calculating, planning, perfecting her revenge. "Oh, Marcus, I've learned that life is full of surprises. You never know what's coming around the corner." The truth had never been more delicious. The first call came at 7 in the morning. Mrs. Rivera? This is Elegant Events Catering. We need to discuss the outstanding balance on the wedding contract your daughter signed in your name. Alicia sat up in bed, suddenly wide awake. I'm sorry, what contract? The $15,000 catering package for 300 guests. The contract clearly states you as the responsible party for payment, and we haven't received the deposit. 3 more calls followed before noon, florists, photographers, musicians, all with the same story. Jessica had signed contracts worth nearly $50,000, all in her mother's name, all expecting payment from the house sale proceeds. When the final vendor called threatening legal action, Alicia finally understood the full scope of her daughter's betrayal. This wasn't just about the house money. Jessica was planning to destroy her mother's credit, her reputation, her entire financial future. The last piece of Alicia's maternal heart turned to ice. Alicia sat surrounded by fraudulent contracts, bills, and threatening letters, all bearing her forged signature. Jessica hadn't just asked for the house. She'd stolen her mother's identity to fund a wedding that would bankrupt them both. The phone rang again. This time it was the wedding venue. Mrs. Rivera, we need the $20,000 deposit by tomorrow, or we'll have to release the date. Your daughter assured us the house sale would be completed by now. How exactly did my daughter sign these contracts? Alicia asked carefully. Well, she had your power of attorney document. Said you were too emotional about selling the family home to handle the details yourself. Very thoughtful daughter you have, taking care of everything for you. Power of attorney. Jessica had forged legal documents, committed fraud, and was actively destroying her mother's life while playing the victim in public. Alicia's hands shook, not with hurt anymore, but with rage so pure it felt like electricity in her veins. Alicia's old phone had a voice recording feature she'd never used before. When Jessica and Marcus arrived for their weekly planning session, she casually left it running from her pocket. God, she's so pathetic. Jessica's voice was crystal clear as they sat in the kitchen. Did you see how grateful she looked when I hugged her yesterday? Like a puppy desperate for scraps. The best part is she still thinks we respect her, Marcus added. She has no idea we're just counting down the days until we can ship her off to some senior living facility. She's just an old fool clinging to the past. But soon we'll have everything, the house money, this beautiful property, and complete freedom from her neediness. Jessica's laugh was cruel, unrecognizable. I almost feel bad about how easy this was. She bought every lie, signed everything we put in front of her. Soon we'll have it all, and she'll have nothing. Alicia's fingers stayed steady on the record button, capturing every damning word. Over the following days, Alicia perfected her performance. She shuffled slightly when walking, let her shoulders slump with apparent defeat, and spoke in increasingly quiet, uncertain tones. When Jessica visited, Alicia made sure to appear confused about simple things, forgetful about conversations. Mom, are you feeling okay? Jessica asked, though her tone held more impatience than concern. You seem different. I'm just tired, Mija. All this change, selling the house, starting over, it's overwhelming for someone my age. Alicia let her voice crack slightly. Sometimes I wonder if I'm making the right decisions anymore. Jessica's eyes lit up with satisfaction. You're doing great, Mom. Don't worry about the details. Marcus and I are handling everything. You just focus on adjusting. The condescension was so thick Alicia could almost taste it. Perfect. Let Jessica think her mother was broken, defeated, ready to be discarded. The surprise would be that much sweeter. That evening, alone in Roberto's study among his police commendations and family photographs, Alicia reviewed her evidence. Recorded conversations, forged contracts, fraudulent signatures, enough to destroy Jessica's reputation and potentially send her to prison. She touched Roberto's picture, remembering his words about justice. Sometimes the law isn't enough, Mija. Sometimes people need to face the consequences of their choices in ways that really make them understand. Alicia opened her laptop and began typing, preparing documents, organizing evidence, planning her daughter's complete and total humiliation. Not just private shame, public disgrace that would follow Jessica for years. "You thought I was weak," she whispered to the empty room. "You thought I was just a foolish old woman you could manipulate and discard. Tomorrow, you'll learn exactly who you've been underestimating." Her smile was sharp enough to cut glass. "You'll choke on your pride, Jessica." Every last bite. Thomas Rodriguez whistled low as he reviewed Alicia's evidence file. "This is comprehensive, Alicia. Identity theft, fraud, elder abuse. Jessica could face serious prison time." "I don't want her in prison, Thomas. I want something better than that." Alicia's voice was steady as steel. "I want her to understand exactly what she's done, publicly, in front of everyone she's trying to impress." They spent 3 hours crafting the perfect legal trap. Irrefutable proof of ownership for the house, documentation of all fraudulent contracts, recordings that would destroy Jessica's credibility forever. Thomas prepared everything with military precision. "The beauty of this plan," Thomas explained, "is that it's completely legal. You're not retaliating. You're simply revealing the truth she's been hiding." Alicia signed the final documents. Roberto used to say that sometimes justice needs a spotlight to work properly. He'd be proud of what you're doing. This isn't revenge, it's accountability. Jessica's mask completely slipped during her next visit. Walking through the house like she already owned it, she began issuing orders with casual cruelty. "Mom, we need to talk about this furniture. Most of it is going to have to go. It's not really our style." Jessica gestured dismissively at the dining room set Roberto had saved for months to buy. "Maybe you can take a few pieces to whatever apartment you find. And we'll need you to pack everything personal by next weekend," Marcus added. "The new owners want to do a walkthrough, and we can't have all your clutter everywhere." Alicia nodded meekly. "Of course, dear. Whatever you think is best." "Good. It's time you learned that this house hasn't been yours for a while now. You just didn't know it yet." Jessica's smile was poisonous. "Oh, and Mom? Try to find somewhere close by. We might need you for babysitting once we start our family." The audacity was breathtaking. Even after stealing from her, Jessica expected Alicia to remain available for further exploitation. At Sunday family dinner, Alicia made her announcement with perfect timing. The entire extended family was present. Aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends, all gathered to celebrate Jessica's upcoming wedding. "I have something important to tell everyone," Alicia said, standing with apparent difficulty. "At Jessica's wedding next week, I'll be making a special announcement about the house sale and how proud I am of my daughter's choices." Jessica preened under the attention. "Mom's being so supportive of our new beginning. She's finally understanding what's really important." Uncle Miguel clapped Alicia on the shoulder. "That's beautiful, Jimena. Family supporting family." Alicia smiled warmly at Jessica. "Oh yes, I think everyone will be very surprised by what I have to say. It's going to be unforgettable." The family murmured approval while Jessica basked in anticipation of public praise. She had no idea she was agreeing to her own execution. 2 days before the wedding, Jessica's behavior reached new heights of cruelty. She stood in the living room giving orders like a general commanding troops. "Mom, I need you to understand your place in all this. After the wedding, things are going to be very different. This house will be our house, and you'll be a guest." Jessica's voice was ice cold. "A guest who needs to earn her keep by helping with cooking, cleaning, and babysitting when we need it." "And if that doesn't work out," Marcus added with casual viciousness, "well, there are some very nice assisted living facilities nearby. Places where people with diminished capacity can get the care they need." "After the wedding, you'll be homeless unless we decide otherwise," Jessica continued. "So, I suggest you start showing the gratitude you should have been showing all along." Alicia met her daughter's eyes with steady calm. "We'll see about that, Mija. We'll see." Something in her tone made Jessica pause, but the moment passed. Tomorrow there would be no more doubt. The morning of the wedding, Alicia woke before dawn. She showered, dressed in her best navy blue suit, and carefully applied her makeup. In the mirror, she saw a woman transformed, not the broken victim Jessica expected, but a warrior prepared for battle. She packed her evidence folder, double-checked the audio recorder, and reviewed her speech one final time. Every word was calculated for maximum impact, every revelation timed for devastating effect. Jessica called 3 times, her voice shrill with last-minute wedding panic. "Mom, you better not embarrass me today. Just stick to the script we discussed. How proud you are, how happy you are for us, blah blah blah." "Don't worry, dear," Alicia replied with deadly calm. "I'm going to give everyone exactly what they deserve to hear. It will be the most memorable speech of your life."
Good.
"And Mom, try to smile today. This is supposed to be the happiest day of my life." Alicia's reflection smiled back at her, sharp and predatory. "Oh, Jessica. It's going to be absolutely unforgettable." The venue was magnificent, $20,000 of magnificence that Jessica had stolen from vendors using her mother's forged signature. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbow light across 300 guests, all dressed in their finest clothes, all expecting a celebration of love and family. Alicia arrived precisely on time, carrying herself with dignity despite the pitying glances from relatives who thought she'd been foolishly generous. Jessica looked stunning in her $8,000 dress, radiant with triumph and greed. "You clean up nice for an old lady," Marcus whispered as he passed, his tuxedo probably costing more than most people's monthly rent. Jessica pulled her mother aside before the ceremony. "Remember, Mom, keep it short, keep it sweet, and keep it grateful. Tell everyone how happy you are that your sacrifice made this beautiful day possible." "I'll give them exactly the truth they need to hear," Alicia promised, her smile never wavering. The trap was set. The executioner was ready. After the ceremony and dinner, Jessica stood to introduce her mother's speech. "Everyone, my mom has something special she wants to share about the sacrifices that made this day possible." Alicia rose slowly, accepting the microphone with apparently trembling hands. The room fell silent, 300 faces turning toward her with expectant smiles. Jessica beamed with anticipation of public praise. "Thank you all for being here," Alicia began, her voice soft but carrying clearly through the sound system. "You're here to witness what my daughter calls the most important day of her life, and I'm here to give her exactly what she deserves." She paused, letting the silence build tension. Jessica's smile began to falter slightly. "But first, I think everyone should know the truth about how this beautiful wedding was paid for." The room's energy shifted imperceptibly. Something in Alicia's tone had changed, stronger, sharper, more dangerous. Alicia pulled out her folder with steady hands, no longer playing the role of the frail, defeated mother. "Jessica told everyone that I sold my house to pay for this wedding. She told you all how grateful she was for my sacrifice, how much she appreciated my generosity." She opened the folder and held up official documents. "But I want everyone to know the truth. I never sold my house. In fact, my house is now in an irrevocable trust, legally protected forever." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Jessica's face went white. Marcus grabbed her arm, confusion and panic flashing across his features. "So, how is this wedding paid for?" Alicia continued, her voice growing stronger. "With fraud. With forged signatures. With stolen identity and fake contracts, all signed in my name without my knowledge or consent." The silence was deafening. 300 guests stared in shock as Jessica's perfect wedding transformed into her public destruction. "I have every fraudulent document right here. Every forged signature. Every lie. But let me share with you what Jessica really thinks of her loving sacrifice," Alicia said, pulling out her phone. "This is a conversation I recorded just last week." She pressed play, and Jessica's voice filled the room with crystal clarity. "She's just an old fool clinging to the past. Soon we'll have everything, the house money, this beautiful property, and complete freedom from her neediness." The recording continued for 90 seconds that felt like hours. Every cruel word, every calculated lie, every moment of heartless greed played out in front of Jessica's new husband, his family, and everyone she'd ever wanted to impress. Marcus's face twisted with disgust and horror. His family members were whispering furiously, their expressions shifting from confusion to contempt. Jessica stood frozen, her mouth opening and closing soundlessly, like a fish drowning in air. After 30 years of loving you, raising you, sacrificing everything for you, Alicia continued, this is who you really are. A fraud, a thief, and a daughter who planned to destroy her own mother for money she was never going to get. Alicia closed her folder and looked directly at Jessica, whose face was streaked with tears of rage and humiliation. You wanted to know if I loved you enough to sell my house. Now you know. I loved you enough to protect myself from you. She walked toward the exit, her head high and her step steady. Behind her, chaos erupted. Marcus's family was demanding answers. Wedding guests were talking over each other in shocked whispers, and Jessica's sobs echoed through the room. Mrs. Rivera, Marcus's voice called after her. She turned to see him approaching, his face a mask of disgust. This marriage is over before it started. My family doesn't associate with thieves and liars. Jessica collapsed into a chair, her $8,000 dress pooling around her, reaching desperately toward her mother. Mom, please. I can't explain. I didn't mean. But Alicia didn't look back. She walked through the doors of the venue and into the parking lot, where Thomas Rodriguez waited by his car with a satisfied smile. Justice served, he asked. Justice served, Alicia confirmed, sliding into the passenger seat. Let's go home, Thomas. To my house. My beautiful, protected, legally mine forever house. As they drove away, Alicia could see the venue in the rearview mirror, still lit with crystal chandeliers and filled with the wreckage of Jessica's greed. Her daughter had gambled everything on her mother's weakness and lost spectacularly. Roberto would have been proud. The house that love built became the house that justice protected, and Alicia Rivera learned that sometimes the most powerful revenge is simply telling the truth.